But really, we need what I call graceful resilience. And that is answering those questions for yourself. What do I believe? What feels good? What am I grateful for today? What does this look like in my life? And when we can take that step back, but also inward and create that graceful resilience that nobody can touch, nobody can minimize, right? Like, oh, you just need XYZ. Okay, fine, you go do you. I'm going to do me. And that is graceful resilience. It's something that is can just slowly just eked into.
Welcome to Allow Yourself podcast. And today we have an amazing guest, Shaina Hargens, a coach, speaker, and writer who believes resilience is built, not found. Through the journey of motherhood, grief, and renewal, she created Anchoring Amidst, a journal and framework that helps women uncover the strength they already have within. Her mission is to guide women back to their God-given identity, fortified, confident, and gracefully resilient. So before I say welcome to Shaina, I want to remind you that here is a place that we allow ourselves to listen so we can grow. No labels, so we can allow ourselves to flow. It doesn't matter if your gender, faith, or political view, you belong in this conversation. So let's welcome Shaina Hargens to the show. Hi, Shaina.
Thanks so much for having me, Beatrice.
It's um it's my honor to have you here and listen to your story that I know that a lot of our audience will feel identified with that and be inspired and transform themselves for that. So I usually start the podcast asking you, when you hear allow yourself, what comes to mind?
Well, I have to say, as I applied to be here and have this conversation with you, seeing the title of your podcast just made me smile, like inside and out, because we have so much in this world that isn't allowed or that we don't have the ability to live out fully. And yet, allowing yourself is just another way to say you have permission.
Okay, so you have permission for what?
You have permission to be yourself, to set your own boundaries, to listen to what it is that your intuition is saying, what the Holy Spirit is saying, what your body is saying, right? Sometimes we have to slow down because our body is saying slow down, but to listen.
Wow, that's so important. And yes, we are so restricted by our surroundings, but more of our surroundings, we are in a cage. Like we put ourselves in a cage and we are so limited that and holding back ourselves because sometimes we say we are our own, we are worst enemy of the stories we're telling ourselves, and where we don't allow ourselves for because of many reasons, fears, for fear of disapproval or fear of exclusion, and a lot of things. So, um, do you remember a time where you have hold yourself and you had a belief that you had to unlearn in order to allow yourself to listen and be you?
That can really unfold into a big story. I think we go about our life and life is good or life is not so good. And we come up with the rest of the story, and we start listening to that story when it doesn't help us be who we're supposed to be. It helps us stay small and safe and comfortable and all of that. Um, just over 4 years ago, I I got a taste of that in my life. And I was going along and everything was great and everything was good. We were expecting our first child, and then he was stillborn. And all those expectations, all that, it was just devastating. It hurt and it really messed up my story, right? Like, I remember having this conversation with a friend, like wanting it to be like it was. Well, that wasn't an option.
Okay.
And so looking at it and saying, and being in that story for quite a while of not only like missing all of that, but
But
then
what were you
also
telling yourself? What were you telling yourself? What was your story?
um the biggest story is that I I wanted to write him into things, and it was all in my imagination. It wasn't until I finally gave it to God and I was like, please take this from me. Like the the mom guilt of then having another child, thinking about another one, but thinking about it in the way of um like wanting to prove something, like, oh yeah, I could definitely have another child to prove something, to prove that I could have one. And I knew it wasn't coming from the right place. And so I gave it to God, and He gave me a vision of heaven. And it took all the mom guilt out of it. It took all of the wishing, the hoping, the trying to write that story, because it's written in heaven and it's all going to be fulfilled there. And I didn't have to worry about it anymore.
It's um it's when the pain gets, if I'm listening correctly, it's like the pain is so deep and so hard to carry that we surrender so much that we don't understand what's happening, that the only way is to give it to something bigger than us,
Yeah,
God in this case, um, that can, that when we surrender and let go, it's like, yes, I'm taking this, but I'm taking this with your guilt, with your resentment, with your expectations. This is not the one that I wanted for you. There is another one for you. This one, like misled, coming to you, but it's not the right direction. It's like rewriting a story of, okay, take it. And here I am open for you to give me again something else. I cannot imagine the pain you went through in this situation, but I can relate to the surrender and letting go.
absolutely.
It didn't happen with kids, but it happened me with life taking everything away from me. So it's like, um, but what that happened to me, it didn't take away all the resentment and the hate and expectations and guilt and stories and punishing myself. Let's see if it happened to you that too. For me, I needed a electric pole to fall on my car that almost killed me. That reset me electrically, really, because I had to, everything that I touched, I needed to ground it. I was full of electricity everywhere I took, for example, a cup of coffee, the coffee like boiled. But it took that's the feeling, exactly what you're saying, is the so light and no resentful and not punishing, is just accepting would be the word. Is that the word?
And really accepting that anchor, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, so how did you come back after that? Could you be a mother after that?
Yes, yes. A year and a half later, we had our daughter, and she's just a perfect miracle. And the following year, so she turned 1 year old, and I felt like I could breathe again. Like, okay, we made it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, now it's my turn. Um, this whole time, I had a year prior to our son's birth, I had started my business, and I'm a motivational coach. And after he was born, I was just like, God, please let me keep doing what I'm doing, right? Like, please help have this be my path. And everything, like all the things that I had had in place, I started asking the question, okay, what of these things was what helped me through, was what made me strong, resilient, able to have the confidence and take the steps and do the next things. Like, taking action takes a lot of confidence, right? It takes a lot of that, those little ticks of resilience that say, okay, 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 okay. And so I went on this kind of personal mission first to answer for myself, like, how did I survive and come out the other side? Like, I kind of still feel like myself. Yes, there were things that were missing and things that kind of lost their innocence, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, okay, what was there? And that created that soft place to land. And so I started sifting through notebooks and journals and conference notes and handouts and like all the little tools and resources that I had or used or participated in. And I picked out the ones that had stuck with me or that I had been subconsciously going back to, not knowing, oh, that's what was stacked there for me so that I could go back to it. That's what was anchoring me so that I could go back to it or lean on it. Um, and it became I don't know, it became a framework. It became something I started sharing with my clients.
That's beautiful, right? When we know, although we don't know what we don't know, but subconsciously we know that we have the answers within. Because we usually look for the answers outside. But outside, it's only the triggers, because we are the only ones that have all the ingredients and all the nuisances of in our head to, because we are unique and we don't know how to do it. So um, the God that we talking about is inside us, is the connection inside, is our light, right? You said it beautifully. The God-given identity that we have is that full connection that is one-on-one. Okay, we don't have to go outside. It's one-on-one. It's in our within, let's say. But sometimes the pressure is so loud outside, and the what you need to do and what you have to do and all the instructions that are noise in your head. What do you do to come back to your center?
I think as we are so confronted, like you said, by all the chaos, all the devices, all of the distractions. It needs to be gentle and doable, right? Because so many of us, we don't have quote unquote time for a big project, right? A big rebuild. There's also this idea like we can't afford to burn it all down, right? And
Yes.
start over, like, right? Because there's things that are around us that are there, they're anchoring us. We've stacked them to where we can go back to them. And so we have an opportunity to take small, gentle steps every single day to build towards our narrative, to build towards that root, that belief that we have inside of us. Whatever it is, if you believe in Santa Claus, if you believe in God, if you believe in all the flowers should be white. I'm seeing your flower behind you, right? Like whatever you
Yes, yes.
believe, right? As we need to find those little tiny things that fortify us until we have that strength to take that first step, and then the second step, and then the third step. Because as we have those little things, those little tiny things that stack up, right? Now we can take bigger and bigger steps because we're actually like consciously stacking those elements.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's the power of the small steps, the power of one step at a time,
Yes.
small. Um, they're doing the 1% a day more than yesterday. So one step today is two steps tomorrow. And at the end of the year is 365 steps. So imagine how many floors are you up already, just going one step at a time. And even if you don't do bigger steps, if you just do the same is you can say, "Wow, did I do that?" And what I like to do, I don't know how you celebrate that, because we tend to dwell in the problems. We don't dwell in our celebrations. We have to really train ourselves to dwell in our celebrations. And because you give this image of the steps going up, I have an image in my head going up and having a plateau where I rest, recharge, rewind, and then I look back to see how many steps I went I went up. I don't know how to I step up. And then I go up again. And then another plateau that has okay, another 20 steps that I can really rest, dwell, and see, wow, I have already done this and that. And you know, it reminds me that it really, we can really see our achievements and how much we have growth only when we look back and we see all the steps we went. But we take it for granted. So I invite the audience to do that, to stop, as you say, do
Yes.
one step at a time, one step and another step and another step, to really know how much you have going up. I have
I,
this habit of counting steps. Every time that I go into a steps, for me, it's easier to know that usually 16, 20, where I'm going up and then there is a plateau. So it makes it much easier, one step at a time.
yes. So I have a gift I would like to share with you and your audience.
Yes.
And that is my next right step resilience map.
Whoa. Amazing.
Yes. And so this map is going to give you your own list of what it looks like to quote unquote plateau, like you were saying. You make all those steps. We are women. We have rhythm. And if we don't stop and rest, what does that mean? Burnout, overwhelm, crash and burn, right? Like we need this resilience map. There's four elements to it, one of them being rhythm. And that's just it. You're looking back and you're like, hey, 16 to 20 steps, and I'm on the next, right? You're on the next floor. And so knowing that in your daily life, this is something I teach in what I call calendar conquering, but finding your rhythm, what that 16 to 20 steps looks like before you need that resilience map in place.
Oh, that's beautiful. Um, Now that we're talking about this map, where can the audience find you to contact you for the map? Because
Yeah. It's on my resources page, which is anchoringamidst.com.
anchoringamidst.com.
Yeah.
So beautiful. It's how important is allow ourselves to have a map and have a guidance for us to get out of the misery, like call it, quote unquote, like you say, misery, or the space where we are that we are not happy, or that we're going through this storm that we can hardly breathe because it's overwhelming.
It is taking a step back, it's zooming out and saying, oh, this really feels like the right thing to do as I'm going into my cycle week as a woman, right? Or it feels really good on the third week of the month to attend this event and do this thing and take a bubble bath, right? Like zooming out and looking at what works, what you need, and how it just kind of all lays into some kind of rhythm.
Oh, it's so important. And that's something we cannot do by ourselves. When we are in that stage, I don't know if you feel that way, but at least I felt that way, that when we are so deep in our own problems and we are just uh, telling our own story, the story we're telling ourselves is, what can I do? I cannot live here. I don't like how I feel. I just need help. Is when we can reach somebody that already walked the talk, they already went through it, that has his own map and his own tools and mechanism to help you ease that problem, that challenge, I will call it. Because, you know, just Shane, as you are the inspiration that you went through, so that event that it was so hard, and you are in the other side that, okay, I went through it, I felt it, I allow myself to feel, I allow myself to ask for help. Because when we are really down, we need the inspirations to see that somebody already did it so we can follow their steps and we can allow themselves to guide us and take us there are so many different ways, but each one finds its own coach of depending what is the circumstances that they're going in order to flip the situation, as I call it. So, what would you tell Shaina as the teenager to, what would you whisper her that she should allow herself to know that she didn't know back then in order to be the leader that you're today?
Ooh. It would be the reminder of we are created in God's image, and God is big, and your story is small. And yet, our story can keep us small. And so, as we expand, as we allow ourselves to grow, we have to allow ourselves so that we can be big, so that we can be in the fullness of that vision that we are meant to carry out. I would remind her that she's big, bigger than she thinks.
That's beautiful, and each one experiences that in a different way, right? Because there are people that don't believe in God, and they say, "I thanks God I don't believe in God," like so, you know that expression that is really funny. Um, but it's like when they are so deep in that hole that they see just darkness, when the surrender comes and say, show me the way, no, and then you start seeing the light, is when you can call it God, you can call it universe, you can call it the way you want. But it's that higher force, higher power that really help us overcome this. And the more I talk with people, different religions, different politic views, with a lot of money, with a little money, at the end of the path, the resilient part is the surrender and let go and see the Lord, see the universe, see the higher power, and really feel it that is inside. So, because even I know people that they really, if I don't see it, I don't believe it, right? It's like, and don't believe really in God, and don't really believe in religion, let's call it, not in God. They are very spiritual, but they don't believe in religion. They had to go through hard situations in order to open their mind to see a different perspective that is not tangible, that is spiritual, that is like your imagination. Like, I call it like a remote control, because when you want to turn on your TV and you push the button in your remote control, you don't see the cable going to the TV. There's an energy there, right? That you don't see, but it's there. So if you turn on, or your phone, that you can be everywhere and then you're anyway connected. So, who or what taught you to really allow yourself to be fully seen, even when it felt uncomfortable?
Who taught me? I would say Cody Bateman. Um, he owns a company called Send Out Cards, and the book that he wrote is Promptings. And it teaches you to trust yourself. That small little voice that says, open that door, buy that thing for that person. Tell them you like their earrings when you haven't spoken to somebody in 3 days, right? Like, trust yourself, right? That thing inside of you that says those small positive things. And then when we can also turn that into gratitude and find a way to look at something and be grateful for it, like to like unashamedly, right? Like just be in that and then share it with people.
And then people sometimes say, "Oh, that's we take it for granted." That okay, what else? No, what else? Seeing, being grateful, but what else? No, it's not what else. Is right. It's not the what else. It's not being grateful because just to say thanks. Is really feel it and be grateful in the magnitude that has to have those little big important non-important things. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just the being grateful, because opening your eyes we take it for granted, but it's not. In 3 minutes you close your eyes and you cannot open them again because you cannot breathe. So that's really nice to hear. But we said, oh, the self-confidence and the self-love, but it sounds so easy. But it takes a whole process, right, to get there, to open the door and allow yourself to love yourself and to see in the mirror, because culturally that has a tag name that it's called selfish. Don't, oh, if you protect yourself, you think only about yourself, and uh, and you want that for yourself, you're selfish. But
But really, we need what I call graceful resilience. And that is answering those questions for yourself. What do I believe? What feels good? What am I grateful for today? What does this look like in my life? And when we can take that step back, but also inward, and create that graceful resilience that nobody can touch, nobody can minimize, right? Like, oh, you just need XYZ. Okay, fine, you go do you. I'm going to do me. And that is graceful resilience. It's something that can just slowly just eked into. I had done a lot of work that was bigger, right? Like, oh, this big list is going to build up this big thing, which did. But in today's world, we are so inundated, right? We said this earlier, with all of those things, the chaos of the world, that we need those small little things that come to graceful resilience for ourselves so that we can live in and work on the vision that God has put on our hearts. And that's why I brought Anchoring Amidst to fruition, because we need those small little bite-sized things in a world that we're just almost too inundated to take action in.
that's really, really nice. Those anchoring things. Sometimes I ask myself the opposite question: is who am I without this?
Ooh, yes.
So, okay. So you see, because we take so many things for granted, okay? So many that we can go to the toilet, for example, that we can eat, that we can see, that we can hear physically, okay? And then all the material around us. Oh, what do I do? What am I without my job? Who am I? No, is because when we get to the little things, we really start appreciating the effort to get everything. But when you have lost very precious things in your life, like, for example, the business that I built in 30 years, I lost it like this because I divorced and the judge gave it to my ex and not to me. Who am I without that? Who am I? No? Does that define me? And yes, according to the community I was living in, I was that. I was the owner of the store. I wasn't Beatriz or Batia. I was the owner of the store. So, oh, and that's how the people call me. The 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 store name was Multilook, so I was called. Oh, hello, Mrs. Multilook. I even my identity was that. So, who am I without that? Is deep grief also. So
Yeah,
it's again small steps, step by step. So at that time, that's where I asked first time, who am I without that?
that's a beautiful question.
And it took me a couple of months to figure out who am I without that because they took the universe told me that's not your path. Today I can see it like that. It was a gift to say, this is not your path. This is your ex husband's path. Yours is this one. You don't close doors, you open minds and hearts. So,
Yeah,
it's the same coin, different sides. One is closing, the other one is opening. You don't close doors anymore. You now will start opening minds and hearts to make people safe. And the other one also, but this is the other way to, to make people feel safe. And this is a beautiful path, but it took me pain, took me path, took me process to take out all the layers that I put on me and the story, believing myself that that's me. So, yeah, it's the same side, but as my book,
absolutely.
my book is flip it over, and I flip everything over. So, it's the same perspective, but from the other side of the question.
I love that.
Is there anything else you want to tell the audience that want to know about you?
Um, just that they can start. You can start where you're at and know that you have strength, know that you have resilience. Might just be covered under some debris, right? Resilience isn't usually what's under the debris. But it is there. And just keep asking yourself those positive questions, those uplifting questions, not of the heaviness of the world, but of the softness of a place to land. Build that for yourself because it's a really cool place to be.
Oh, that's beautiful. And just to build it yourself, and like Shaina said, one step at a time, one step and another step and another step, and then the muscle is already there completely. That no matter what happens outside yourself, no matter what the circumstances, you can really face them with grace, I will call it, with grace. Oh, that's amazing. We can talk a lot here, but uh, I had a wonderful time and listening to your story, even if it was a really painful, that it became really a gift for your story in your grief. And is there one word, what would you take from this conversation?
Hmm. Resilience. It has
Resilient.
to be our word for this conversation.
Um, okay. I take with me rhythm. Get the rhythm. To get that resilient, one step, another step, another step, at your own pace and your own rhythm. So, thank you, Shaina. Thank you very much for sharing your heart with us, your journey, your wisdom, your really personal life experiences. And this conversation is a reminder to us that allow yourself is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. One step, another step of courage, of grace, of trust, right?
Absolutely.
And that for everyone listening, may you give yourself permission. We allow it, okay? We are giving you the permission. Now you have to give yourself the permission to take up the space, to rest, to begin again, to keep moving, and to become what you divinely meant to be. So thank you, Shaina. And you can find Shaina in,
Anchoringamidst.com. Grab that resilience map.
yes, God, and it will help you start step by step. So thank you very much and see you next time.
Thank you.